First at 6, hundreds of thousands of people took to the streets across the nation for the second round of No Kings protests. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Channing Curtis. Take a look. Here are just 4 of the massive protests that happened today across the United States. You're taking a look at Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Atlanta, and take a look in San Francisco. Protesters even made a human banner spelling out No Kings. Now, protests even here on our First Coast. We do have team coverage tonight. In just minutes, our Haja Bob reports on the protests right in front of the fort in downtown St. Augustine. But first, our Zach Wilcox was there to cover the march into downtown Jacksonville and joins us live from the Duval County Courthouse right now. So, Zach, that area looked very different just a matter of a few hours ago, right?
Yeah, Channing, about 2 hours ago, I couldn't have even stood on this sidewalk because there were thousands of people here on the sidewalk all throughout the courtyard in front of the courthouse. You can see behind me here, all that's left now is JSO packing up some of the barricades that they had blocking the front of the courthouse because you had that crowd out here with speeches and music and chants and all of that kind of stuff. But before they made it out here, of course, they had to do the trek from the Friendship Fountain about 1.5 miles. They walked over the Main Street Bridge, up Bay Street, came over here to Adams Street so they could get in front of the courthouse for that rally. And we even talked with a couple of the folks who had a particularly tough hike because they were in big blow-up costumes. We saw a chicken, I saw a shark, I even saw a SpongeBob and Patrick duo. Talk with some of these protesters about why they wore these silly costumes. One told me that it's because they want to fight silliness with silliness. Another one told me that they don't want the state of things around the country to take away their joy. And it wasn't a huge counter-protester presence out here. We did see a banner that was flown overhead that said Duval for Trump. We saw one counter-protester here where the rally was happening, and we talked with some of those protesters, some of the folks who marched, about what brought them out, and a counter-protester about what brought him out today.
I am a student at the University of North Florida. My program, scientific program, was defunded back in March. I got the stop work order on March 28th, and I've been out of work since.
3 weeks in, after the vote, when I realized I had made a huge mistake. And I had an experience that showed me that something I didn't want to believe, but it's what we're watching today.
I think Trump's doing a great job. I came out here to enjoy the weather and show my support for Trump. President Trump. He's not a king. He's president.
I should point out that the Duval County Republicans, they did release a statement yesterday that mentioned that they were not going to be organizing any kind of counter-protest today. And we did see JSO with some of the streets that they shut off, and we saw a lot of the JSO officers riding up and down bikes to make sure they had security out here. So we aren't aware of any major safety concerns that happened with the protests. The thing that I did notice was some of those folks who wore those big blow-up costumes, they had to take a little bit of a breather at points, unzip them, get some water in because I'm sure it was hot in those things. In downtown, Zach Wilcox, First Coast News, on your side.